Hi boys and girls, Miss Geo here. Today's lesson for Monday is all about box plots. And what box plots are is a way to organize information using lots of the concepts that we've talked about already. We've talked about the median, which is the middle number. We've talked about quartile 1 and quartile 3. So we're going to kind of take that information and put it in a box plot. So kind of, like I said, a way to graph it. So what I did first is here, I took all these numbers from our table and I put them in order from the smallest to the biggest. And then I figured out what the middle number was. So really smack down in the middle was 5 and 7. So in the middle of that was 6, so 6 is our median. And then I used the numbers that are less than my median, and I found my quartile 1, right in the middle there is 4. And then I use all the numbers that are bigger than my median, and I found the middle number there, and that's quartile 3. And then what I do is I take that number and I put it over here in a box plot. So there's a few things that I have to graph for my box plot. The first thing is I need to put a dot where my biggest number is, my biggest value, and my smallest value. So my smallest number is 1, and my biggest number is 15, so I put a dot there. And then I put lines on where my quartile 1 and 3 are, and then also where my median is. So my quartile 1 is a 4, so I put a little line above the 4. My median is 6, I put a line above the 6. And my quartile 3 is 9, so I put a line above the 9. And then I go ahead and I make my box, hence the name box plot. And then I draw a line to my largest value and my smallest value. And that's my box plot. And then the way we can think about this information is, see how it's broken into 4 sections? This section, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 100% of the data. So each of these 4 sections is worth 25%. So this right here is 25% of the data. This is 25, this is 25%, and this is 25%, which of course when we add them up, we get 100%. So for letter B there, when it asks what percent of the earthquakes were between 4 and 9 kilometers deep, we have a 4 here and my 9's there, and there's 2 sections in between there. So if they're each worth 25%, 25% plus 25% gives me an answer of 50%. And then my next question here, it says, write a sentence explaining what the length of the box plot means. And I want you just to kind of think about that, because it's just spread out data. It's not all around one certain number. I mean, granted, we do have a few 5s and a few, like a couple of 7s and a couple of 9s, but really overall, our data is really spread out. And that's kind of what we're looking for, is this is spread out data. So when they're asking you to explain what the length of it means, if it's real all close together, that would mean that it kind of is all around one, couple of numbers. In this case, it's spread out data because it ranges from 1 all the way up to 15. Then looking at number 2 is a little different. What it's doing here is it's giving you the box plot, and you have to pull out the data. You have to pull out quartile 1, quartile 3, and then our median. So we know that our first line right here, this line right here, that's our quartile 1. So my quartile 1 is equal to 25. This middle line right there is my median. So I know my median is 27. And then this last line right here is my quartile 3, and that's going to be equal to a 33. So when they give you the box plot, they want you just to pull out what the values are by looking at where the lines are. You can also mention that maybe the smallest number is 22, the biggest number is 40. So that's what we have for box plots today. If you have any questions, like we've always said, if you have anything you want to ask, please don't hesitate to contact either myself or Mr. Swint. Well, have fun today with box plots, and let us know if you have any questions. Bye, guys.